Hello and welcome to my animation tutorial. In this video I'm going to show you how to animate this heart like button animation in After Effects. We are going to take a simple shape of heart from Adobe Illustrator, or you can create the same in After Effects, and then we will start animating it using simple steps. And this is a beginner level tutorial, so if you are not familiar with After Effects, don't worry, I'm going to take you step by step throughout the process. Let's get started. Inside After Effects, let's start with creating a new composition. As usual, you can click here, or you can go to composition and click on new composition. All right, so this time we need the height to be more than the width, so let's keep this at 300 and let's make the height at 600. We can change this later as well, and I'm just going to type in the composition name as heart. Remember, this is a micro interaction animation, so we don't need very high resolution animations, and I'll keep the usually the frame rate should be 24, but I'll just keep it at 30 just to match it up with my screen recording software so it plays smoothly. Alright, so I'm going to click OK, and this is the canvas that we have. Now we need to import our heart icon. We can create that inside After Effects as well with the shape tools, but it's easier to just it's a simple shape, so let's just import that. One way you can do it is go to File, Import and File, or you can just double click on your project window to open up the import window. All right, click on heart and click on you can click on footage or click on composition, retain layer sizes. This comes in handy especially if you have multiple layers, but I'm going to do that nevertheless. Now the composition is already created. Here it is open, and you can see the AI file, the heart file that we have here. I can go scale this up and start animating instantly, but rather what I do is I'll create a shape from this AI layer so it becomes the inherent shape created by After Effects, so we have more control over it, and we can export it as lorry files or suitable format for developers to integrate this animation in development. So before we do anything, just right click on this AI file, this layer, and go to create and create shapes from vector layer. All right, so it's necessary for this to be a vector layer, which is AI or SVG or EPF, and then you can create a shape from the vector layer to the After Effects shape. All right, so you notice that here we have created a new shape layer which After Effects has created, and you can drop that down, go to contents, go to group, and you can see how the path is laid out and how we have the vertices of the shape. And now this AI layer is already hidden, and you can just go ahead and delete it, but I'll just keep it there. Now we also have the control to change the color of this, and I'll just go ahead and select the fill at the top and create a more relevant color, give a more relevant color to this, and we can add on details later on if needed, but I think this is perfect. Now let's go ahead and scale this up. Just press S on the keyboard to bring the scale value, or you can drop this down, go to transform, and you have all these values here. All right, so I'm just going to scale it up maybe this much, bring it down, and you notice that the shape will not tear up as this is a vector. Okay, now let's start animation with setting up the anchor point. So let's start with setting up the anchor point. Right now it is in the middle, and if I rotate it or scale it, it will scale or rotate from that point, keeping that as a pivot. So let's set it up at the bottom. You can do that by pressing Y on the keyboard or going up on the toolbar and click on the pan behind, which is the anchor point tool, and then just take that anchor point and snap it at the bottom. If snapping is not on, you can turn it on and off here. It helps you to snap it to the precise corners or points on the design. Now if I rotate or scale, then it will scale from that point onwards. All right, so and this is exactly what we want to start with animation. Now initially it will be like a button where we only see the outlines, and once someone tap on the heart, the fill will come in. So let's duplicate this layer again, hide the previous one, and here you see it has the fill but not the stroke. So let's turn off the fill by clicking on the fill text and just clicking no fill, and then go to stroke and turn this on and increase the stroke width. You can just click and drag here. But if that does not work, sometimes when you create shapes from vector AI files, this really does not work because After Effects combines the paths here itself. So you see that we have the paths and we have the fill, but we do not have a stroke. So you can add a stroke as an additional effect by clicking on this button here and click on the stroke. Now we get a stroke, and here you can adjust the width of the stroke. Right now it's white, but let's keep it something similar to red that we had before, and maybe 2 pixel wide is good enough. And if I turn the fill on for the other layer, you see that this is how it appears. Okay, so this layer we can just keep it as it is. Just close this up, maybe that goes at the bottom. And initially this is what is seen by the user. Let's keep that on for maybe 15 frames. All right, and then this frame will come in. So you can adjust the layers to where they start, and this is how it will come up. And here visibility of this layer should end because we are going to animate this heart from here point onwards, from the 15th frame for example. So to cut this layer off, just press Option and right square bracket tool to end it here. So you can click Option or Alt on Windows to left bracket or right bracket to have it start and end at that particular point in your timeline. So this is where this ends and our next layer starts to appear. And from here we are going to start the animation. Now let me first animate this bouncing up and down. So let's drop this down, go to transform, and we have this position property. To set a very first key, just click on this little clock icon and you can see that the position has been recorded. And then I'll press space bar to gauge how far I want to go in the timeline, how fast I want the animation. So for example, in 15 frames I want this heart to go up, so I'll adjust the y-axis and make it go up. Okay, you can do it from here. So this is the x-axis and y-axis. So if I move it x, it goes side to side, and y, it goes up and down. Or you can just grab it in the canvas and do it manually. So whenever you change any property which has a key already, and if you go ahead in the timeline and change that, another key will be set up automatically. You don't have to go here and do it all the time. Okay, so right now we have this animation where our heart goes up. Okay, and it looks pretty slow, but we're going to fix that. Then it comes down back again to the same position. So we can just, to keep it very precise, we can just select this key and copy and paste it here. Okay, with Command or Control C or Command Control V. So it goes back to this same position. So here it's going up and then down, and it's coming down fast. So I'll just retime this. So play with the timing of how fast or slow you want the animation to work. And now we want easy ease at the top. I mean, we want it here and here as well. So when it goes out from this frame, we want to ease it out of it, not just abruptly go very linear. So right now you see the animation is very linear. It just like robotically goes straight up and down. There are no eases to it. So simply what you can do is click on both the keys and press F9 on the keyboard, or right click keyframe assistant or easy ease. Okay, so what this will do is add some cushion to it, so it goes up and then down. Okay, but we can enhance this further and retime this a lot. If you are on older versions of After Effects, you can right click on the position and separate the dimensions. So you have the X position and Y position separate, and there you can manipulate them separately and adjust their curves separately as well. So after doing that, we don't need the X position, so let's just select that and delete it. So all the keys will be deleted because we don't want to make the heart go left to right. It's just going to go up and down for now. Okay, so here we go up, and again let's give some easy ease which we can tighten up later. Okay, so this goes up and then fall down, and then we'll add one more bounce to it, but this time it will not go too high. Okay, so let's just take it up a little bit and then make it fall down. So copy and paste this key again, so it goes up, down, up and down, a little bounce here. So I'm going to add an easy ease to the top position here again. All right, so it eases out because that's where the animation start. It goes up in the air, it eases in and out and then come down, but here we don't add any ease because it's going to hit the ground linearly and then bounce up. Okay, it's like falling with the gravity, and until something stops it, it's not going to stop, so it's not going to ease to the ground. Okay, and then it goes up again and then fall. So when it's up in the air we add the ease, and here we don't again. So let's see how this looks. By the way, if you want to start the animation at some point and end it at some point in the timeline, you just press B for the start, for example here, and then N for Nike on the keyboard to end the animation there. Okay, it doesn't end the animation really, but it keeps on playing your playhead in this specific work area. So if I press space bar, what it'll do is it will loop on in here and it will not go to infinity. All right, so here is our very basic animation, and we need to keep it very short because it is a micro interaction. So I'm thinking we have to make this more tight and much faster, because it cannot be that slow after you click a like button. So let's go ahead and bring everything closer, so it goes up faster, comes down faster, and then settles in much faster. Okay, so maybe here I'll end the playhead, and let's see how this works out. I think it looks pretty good, but now we have to go into a little bit of advanced mode. Okay, we have to really polish and tighten up the timing, so it goes up faster, stays here for a little bit longer, and then snaps down. So to do that, let's go to graph editor. So I'm going to select the Y position, click on this little graph editor, and just press this to fit everything in view. So here you see this graph is kind of inverse of what is happening on the screen visually. So this is down and this is up. Okay, it's not the other way around. Here it eases out and then goes up to the highest position and then come down. So here we need to make it hold a little bit. So once you select that key, you have this Bezier curve handles, right, which you can manipulate, and the path will be manipulated accordingly. And to extend this, you can just click and drag. Okay, I'm going to fit this in view again, and here I'll extend this, so it's up in the air for a longer period of time and then snaps back. So the timing is the same, it's still from this frame to this frame, but the way it's moving between those frames is changed. Okay, so let's play this again. Now you see it goes up and it hangs a little bit better in the air and then falls down. So we can even tighten this up a little bit more, and I can do the same for the second bounce as well. So let's tighten this up a little bit, let it hang in the air and then fall down. I think this is pretty good. This is much better than what we had. It's much more alive. Maybe the second bounce needs to be faster. So let's go back, click on this graph editor again, and you can zoom in, zoom out in the timeline with plus or minus key on the keyboard. So here it's bouncing up. I'm gonna take this one frame sooner, and let's see how this animation plays. I think this bounce is much better. So imagine someone clicking on this stroke, the line icon, and then the heart pops up to show that you have interacted with it and you have liked that particular post or whatever the element on the screen is. But that's not it. We are going to add more layers to the animation, make the heart more squishy, add some follow through, overlap, squash and stretch, and some effects to this. So let's jump into the next part.